Welcome to Wyalkatchem, strange name, Butte Place, and friendly people, known to the locals as Wylie. It's primarily a service center for the wheat and sheep farming industries. Its wheat farming heritage is cherished by a large farm machinery museum. The museum is located in the 1936 wheat bin, the first bulk handling facility of the kind in West Australia. Wylie is home to a large paved airstrip, and this is actively used by hang gliding and flying groups. I appreciate the use of footage on hang gliding and flying found on YouTube. Wyalkatchem didn't get much mention in the media before 1910. It really took off as a junction of two railways in 1915. The first mention was in 1881 with the construction of a stone water tank for the use by teamsters and stock. In 1915, the railway took over the water supply for the use of locomotives. Water then, as now, was critical for the community. Wall murals and public buildings celebrate this history in Wylie, and an attractive mural on an old wool shed pays tribute to the importance of the sheep industry. Wylie's got a lot of services, including a hotel, caravan park, hospital with doctors, high school, and quite a range of businesses, from supermarkets to news agencies and post office. There's a swimming pool, golf course, an active cricket and tennis clubs. Flying over Wylie illustrates a mosaic of patterns as a result of wheat farming. Wyalkatchem has large wheat bins servicing the wheat industry and the railway. The railway from Dowerin opened in February 1911, and Wyalkatchem was only a minor siding. Its importance grew when it became a turning point for the branch line leading north to the Mount Marshall district. Very few entries about Wyalkatchem in the newspapers, a minor train wreck and an accidental death. It's an arid-looking countryside and dead flat, but the wheat crops sometimes are excellent. Thanks for joining me, viewer, on this visit to Wyalkatchem, and we'll continue along the discovery pathway. I welcome you to Dowerin, green in winter, gold in summer. Dowerin is situated 156 kilometers northeast of Perth, a 2-hour scenic drive on the Great Eastern Highway into the heart of the Wheatbelt. It's between Wyalkatchem and Goomalling. Let's take a look at the town with Google Earth. It's a small town with a population of 300 people, based almost entirely on wheat and servicing the farmers in the region. It's been clever in diversifying. Between 1927 and 1939, it hosted a major car racing circuit. In 1964, it began an agricultural machinery field day, and this show today is the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. Capitalizing on their success, Dowerin is again looking to host a motorplex circuit near the town. The government report in 1899 indicated that a number of settlers had taken up land in the Dowerin area, and they were clearing the land to grow wheat. The name Dowerin was first recorded on maps around 1879, and perhaps is an Aboriginal word meaning parrot. An anniversary steam train arrived in the town in 2006, celebrating the centennial of steam. A great deal of lobbying occurred in 1898 and 1899 to get the construction of this railway by 1906. First public buildings, a school and a church, were situated at Dowerin Lakes, about 8 kilometres from the current town. Today, the town boasts of large wheat bins and has regular freight service. The size of the wheat bins are indicated by this Google map. Rusty, the iron dog, was designed by students at Dowerin High School to celebrate Tin Dog, the name given by early prospectors to canned meat, which they carried through the area. A freight shed celebrates the early burlap bagging of wheat, although bulk handling was introduced by the late 1930s. A frequency graph of Google News indicates a large number of articles in the late 1890s, mainly about a railway, and then some articles in the 1920s to do with the climate. Most of the articles are post-2000. I appreciate the use of YouTube videos, with the one in the upper left celebrating a motor run through Dowerin. The YouTube video in the upper right looks at the Dowerin Field Day. Nevertheless, the farm population in Dowerin has been dropping with the consolidation of farms, and it's actually much smaller today than during the 1930s. Farmers are plagued by wheat rust and salinity of the soil. Nevertheless, farmers in Dowerin are taking steps to combat the salty soil. Though I always visit museums, I regret to say I didn't make it to the Dowerin Museum. The proposed route of the new race course in Dowerin is outlined in the upper right window. Let's take a look at the central business district. It's only a few stores. After all, there's only about 300 people in the entire town. There's one hotel, the Commercial. There is, of course, the obligatory caravan park. In 1964, the Dowerin Progress Association held a meeting to stop Dowerin from becoming a ghost town, a not uncommon fate of Wheatbelt communities across Australia. It wanted to raise funds to build a dam and reticulate the town's sports oval and tennis courts. They suggested at the meeting that Dowerin hold a field day similar to Orange in New South Wales. Communication and distance has always been a problem for Wheatbelt farmers. The idea of having a working machinery event where they could compare rival equipment under identical conditions was very appealing. The idea was accepted. The field day today has 600 to 700 exhibitors, attracts 15 to 20,000 people, and is now held over 2 days. It's said to be the biggest event of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. There is a very impressive array of equipment offered at the Dowerin Field Day, much of it imported from overseas. Between 1927 and 1939, Dowerin hosted one of the major racetracks in the state, which unfortunately came to an end with the Second World War. Dowerin is trying to capitalize on this history by introducing, in 2007, a vintage car motoring event